Hey, this is Victor from the Victory Training Podcast, and today we have Tori with us. She has been a member with us and has actually done some semi-private personal training with me, and today we're going to learn some more about Tori.
Thanks. I'm happy to be here.
Yes. So maybe, I guess, I don't know if I've ever asked you this. How did you learn about the gym?
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I was walking by with my dog.
Okay.
So I moved up to the neighborhood and wanted a place that was local, didn't have to drive, do that whole thing. I lived in the South Loop and was going back to my gym in the South Loop. And I was like, this is crazy. There has to be something better nearby. And I walked by, saw some people working out in here. It's like, that looks pretty cool.
Well,
And here I am, however long later.
easy enough.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Then I know you got like a sports background. You've done like a lot of hockey, right?
Yep.
Hockey, boxing. What else? Am I missing anything?
Those were the
That's the
main
mains,
two.
right?
Yeah.
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 Okay. And then you did hockey in college?
Mhm.
Okay. And then, but you didn't pick up boxing until college, right?
Yeah, like late into high school, primarily in college. Yeah.
Okay. I feel like hockey in high school is like not that it is a thing here, but is it like, do you know anything about like the high school hockey culture here compared to?
I don't think that it's as big here, to my knowledge.
Wait, Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
I
Philly.
was about to say
So-
Virginia for a second. I'm like, no, it's not Virginia. It's Pennsylvania.
No, I mean that like Virginia's kind of a cool state,
But no, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, no, it's pretty big on the East Coast. Like Philly area, New York. We played a lot in New York. We even went over into Canada too. We played a few teams in like Michigan, but I feel like we never touched Illinois, oddly enough, or Indiana.
Yeah, I feel like it's not that big here. But
Yeah, it would like almost, but like no, kind of like skipped you.
yeah.
Yeah. But,
So hockey's the first love, you feel like, or boxing?
I mean, it was like a progression of violence, I guess, in a lot of ways. You know,
Yeah.
just it
Yeah,
was
hockey's
no
an
longer.
aggressive sport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just no longer, there wasn't a puck involved, there weren't any other players. It really pulled me, boxing did for the individual challenge. You know, it was all on you. You train kind of in a team sport, in a team setting with other people, but ultimately when you get in the ring, it's you.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Do you feel like, or playing sports, did that like lead you to lifting weights? Or like right? Like, I mean, you sign up for this, right? You decide that you want to weight train. So, like, there's some sort of like love for it, right? Like, there's something that
Yeah.
you like about it. Did that come from first playing the sports, or did you like get that afterwards?
I think it started in sports. I started lifting with hockey in middle school. So I definitely had an early exposure to kind of weight training. My dad, I remember, always had like a bench in the basement and some dumbbells scattered around. We weren't allowed to touch them, but it almost made it like more enticing. Like, well, now I want to know like what that's about. Why am I
Yeah.
not allowed to touch the weights? Probably because they were super heavy, and you know, I'm 1 of 5, so somebody would have ended up with a
Yeah.
weight in the face. But yeah, I think that it was a natural progression in a sense, but it also kind of fell like hand in hand. And especially transitioning out of college, bouncing around a lot location wise. It maybe wasn't as easy for me to find a team that I wanted to be on, or kind of like an intramural program, but I mean, you can always find a gym with weights or
Right.
bring them with you. So I definitely transitioned more towards strength training in college and afterwards.
Nice. Right now, I'm overwhelmed with the thought of how bad of a business owner am I that I never asked you how you learned about us. Like, I never asked you that question. Like you were blown away by that question just now.
Yeah, no, like because I
That's
just
so
really
bad,
never
though.
thought
Like,
of it. I was like, I don't know.
Okay, but
and
I should have thought to ask you that, like when you first came in, like that's what like you're supposed to be like. How'd you,
oh yeah, like how did you?
I need to work on myself.
Yeah, how did you hear about us? And
Yeah,
it's like, I don't know.
yeah, I never asked. Okay, yeah, that's all right.
You were just like, that's fine, welcome.
I had to get that out of my mind. I'm like, wow, okay, okay, but like. So what kind of like what do you gravitate towards now? Like in the gym, like what kind of training do you like? Mm-hmm. How is right? Like, 'cause okay, you got this athletic background. You're playing sports in college and in high school and things like that, and then like that comes to an abrupt stop, and then like okay now. There's a new, right? You have to like kind of relearn, like kind of like life. What is training? What does that look like, right? Like sometimes, like I feel like you go through this weird period where like you're still trying to train, like you're active in athletics, but like you're not. And you're holding yourself to this false standard that's not even happening anymore. And then, so like like what's your new way of working out now, right? Post. Being a competitive athlete, like what's your goal? How do you see weight training?
Yeah, no, there definitely was like almost like an identity crisis post college. Like, who am I? Yeah. Even though obviously like I had a job and other things, it was like, but my sports. So it was a lot of trial and error. But like fortunately. Boxing requires very little equipment. A lot of times it just requires another willing participant.
Sure.
So that's kind of definitely why I gravitated more towards boxing post-college. And then it really became almost like a game for me to just keep trying new things. And like there was the CrossFit phase and there was like, and it all, like, now I feel like I'm in that period of my life where it's all just focused around functional movement and, like, prolonged movement. And, in high school and college, it's like you do stupid things. You lift super heavy for what purpose? And now it's kind of like, what am I doing that's sustainable? So I've incorporated like a lot of mobility movements into the training that I do. And just to like keep challenging your body, a lot of people just sit all day and then they walk, and so many people like don't even use stairs. And you're like the range of motion that you put your body through during a day just becomes like more and more limited. And so I still have like that athletic mindset, I think, where I want to be challenging myself to move in dynamic ways. But it is, there was definitely a period of time where I was like, there's no like competition coming up. There's no, like, what am I training for? Yeah. And that was challenging, where it's like, well, you're training for the rest of your life. You're training for long-term health. You're training for sure. Like your future family. I have 4 a niece and 3 nephews, and it's like you're training to help your sister carry them, like drag all their stuff around and them around. You're training to carry your 70-pound dog when she doesn't want to walk anymore. Yeah. Because why not? So I think that when you are able to shift your mindset away from like a competition focus, which is very hard for me because I'm a little competitive, I then saw like this whole new kind of view on life of like everything is movement. Everything in its own way is like a challenge for your body. Because you could walk outside and slip and fall. For sure. But it's like if you do some type of training and are putting your body through movements consistently that kind of prepare you for an impact, or your body to move very quickly and suddenly, like you're able to sustain it differently. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's just like, the way we're like just set up in society now, it's just so much sitting, so much is in front of a screen,
but you can get a lot out of it, but at the same time, it does take a toll on your body.
Yeah.
When I was like driving a lot, I started developing this knee pain that I never had before, and I know it's because I was sitting too much. Yep. And I'm lucky enough that I have the knowledge already, and I understood what that was. But like if I didn't, it's perfectly logical to say, oh, my knee's hurting, I should be less active. Yeah. Right? I should put ice on this. Yep. Right? Like, and not understanding that it's actually the lack of movement that's causing the joint pain. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, it's just a whole nother ballgame. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's totally different. But yeah, like, you're talking about like functional movement and, mobility work. Mm-hmm. Injury prevention and just like aging with like, they would say aging with grace, I think, or something like that, right?
I was gonna say aging with grace. Yeah, that's what I'm going for.
That's my goal. I'm like, bro, I just want to be an in shape and lively old man. Yeah. Some people will say you already are. I'm like, bro, I'm not old yet. But okay, so like, as far as like weightlifting goes, you say you don't lift heavy, but like you do kind of lift heavy though.
I do. I do have my heavier days. Like I definitely, like that was kind of part of the reason why I originally came in here. And I remember having that conversation with you. I feel like I was like getting a little complacent with myself, or it was like, I know I can do this. So you get comfortable in that space that you're in. And again, it's always looking for the opportunity to level up, diversify how you're moving, how you're thinking. And that was kind of part of what drew me in here was, somebody else to kind of call me out on, you could probably go heavier. Mm-hmm. You're never, slapping on 300 pounds to my deadlift, but I've lifted heavier in here with my hip thrust. I'm a cheater on my bench press. But if there wasn't, everybody kind of needs that accountability person too. That's like, are you actually challenging yourself within the realm, obviously, of like reason? Mm. You're not gonna say like you should try 245s on each side. Like you could do it. It's like you kind of, when you come into this space, you obviously like watch people and learn, and know like where to challenge people and where,
Yeah, I try to push people. Yeah. But like not too much. Right. And also I have the understanding too, like there's certain days where like just myself, like I can't lift as much as the past day. Yeah. No, for whatever reason, like I feel tired or.
You said not every day is a PR. The one day I came in, I don't know what we were doing, but I was like super annoyed. Yeah. I was like, I think I kind of remember that. What I think I had taken like a week, I don't know, like a week off something, and I had a weird work week, and I was like I lost like all my muscles, obviously jumping to the extreme, all my muscles gone. You're like, not every day is a PR. And it is like, that is, again, like such a good mindset and like mental adjustment to make, is like, you're not going to push the same thing every day. Yeah. And that I think is where people stop movement. Is because like, well, I'm not doing the same thing that I was doing at, 18 that I am at 25, that I am at 30, that I am at 35. So like, what's the point? Right. It's like, the point is that like, there's going to be you also weren't walking at 1 year old. It didn't mean that you just like threw in the towel and your parents were like, well, you're in a stroller for forever. Right. So I think that it's like kind of like you said, aging with grace, but again, like knowing, like you said, like where to push people and not, where there's like grace in that day too. Yeah. And I feel like too, like, I think it's important to like understand where you're at in life, like the stages, like going back to earlier in the conversation, like you're not trying to train as if you're going to play a full season of hockey. For sure. Yeah. Like I'm not going to the Olympics. There's no need for that. Yeah. And then also there's things that you need to worry about now that you didn't need to worry about then. For sure. Yeah. And I always tell people too, like I have, a lot of times people will come in and they'll be like, I want to get back to this part where I was, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. Right. It's a good motivator and I get it. Yeah.
But I think it's more important to get back to like the mindset in which you were at.
Exactly.
And similar to the look, right, and the feel, for sure, that's cool, and you can accomplish that. But, you know, I always say, when people tell me that, I'm like, okay, well, you know, tell me more about your life at that point.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it's a 36-year-old mom.
Yeah.
Who just got done with their second kid, right? Just had their second kid. And, you know, they're like, oh, you know, right before I got married, I was in the best shape of my life. This is what I did. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. I just got out of college. I had, you know, I was, you know, in between jobs, or I just started a career doing this.
You had zero responsibilities,
right.
Like zero life stressors.
And I'm like, okay, well, today you got 2 kids.
Yeah.
You have a full-time job that requires traveling. You don't have any time to work out at all, so you're coming to me to try to force time to work out. Yeah. So, like, you can't compare that and this. Because it's not fair. They're never going to equal out.
Yeah, apples to oranges.
Yeah, you know, and, like, because you got to get realistic in that sense. Because otherwise you're just on a journey of failure. Yeah. Because you're trying 100%. To do something that's, like, literally impossible. Like, that's not going to happen. Like, that's over with. It's a different life. It's not that you can't get back into great shape or anything like that, but the approach and what it looks like, it cannot be, you know, the goal can't be that it looks the exact same, because it's not the same.
Yeah. Well, I think it almost ties back into, like, what you asked me earlier, was, like, that mindset shift from, like, competitive to kind of what now. And it was, I think so many people are focused on, like, extrinsic rewards and like how I look, like the outfit that I'm wearing, and when you realize like fitness is so much your energy and your your mind, body, and spirit all have to be in alignment, and a lot of that is tied around like your health and your movement and your fitness routine. And when you kind of shift to like an internal focus of like, but I have more energy than I did, you know, 2 weeks ago, and now I want to play with my 2 kids instead of like taking a nap. Yeah. That when you switch it to like how do you feel, I think that it creates a more sustainable habit for people. Yeah. Because like you said, you're never going to be, I mean, there are the anomalies that can make it back to where they were, but it's still not the same. Right.
And some of that I feel like too is like, that helps with, like, I agree with everything you said, but what helps that too is doing research in what benefits.
For sure.
What the benefits of exercise are. Yeah. Because then you can kind of know what to look for a little bit, and just trust the science of some of it, right? Like, because, like, how do I know that me lifting weights is increasing my bone density? Yeah. Unless I have like some sort of severe osteoporosis or something like that, so I can like actually feel the difference, right? But if you're like a generally healthy person, how do you really know that your bone density is increasing? Yeah. Right? You don't. No. But when you do these research things and you find out, it's like it's another motivating factor to say, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do this. This does help me. And also, why is bone density so important as we age? Or, you know, and just helping your heart. And all these, in your brain, the research is coming out about how resistance training helps your brain. Yeah. You know, and I know for sure that the more consistently I'm lifting, the more decisive I am. Yep. I'm just a little bit sharper. Yeah. You know, 100%. And it makes so much of a difference, and I feel it when I'm not. Yeah. No, I think that once people shift to fitness being like proactive instead of reactive, you're then not like fighting time. Like you don't know that you obviously like don't feel your bone density like increasing as you're lifting, but you know, 20 actually, years you do. Like you're like that pull up was like it did it. But you like in 20, 30 years you'll thank yourself, but it is like it is the element of time and doing it from a stance of being like proactive on your health instead of like I had a major, you know, whatever knee injury and like then I couldn't move, and you know now I want to get in shape, want to get back to where I was. Yeah. And it's like, well, now you're fighting time. Absolutely, 100%. Yeah. That's one thing too, right? Where I'm like, when you say like that too, it's like I find it much more motivating instead of looking back and trying to be what I was, looking forward at what I could be if I don't do the work.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
That's
like,
kind of scary. Yeah.
Yeah, I find that more motivating. I'm like, man, like, okay, like, I do not want to end up, whatever, fill in the blank, X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I do not want to have this spare tire. Or I don't want to be, like, weak.
Yeah.
Like, or feel weak. Or, like, man, like, I can't do that. Like, have to say, like, oh, yeah, like, can you help me with this? I can't.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, it's okay to need help and things like that. But, like, man, I want to minimize that. And I want to elongate not needing the help and being able to be independent, and things like that. But, like, if you don't take care of yourself, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
These are, like, the internal conversations I'm having with myself.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, to myself, But
don't do that today.
But, yeah, that's, like, that's huge. Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah.
And most people don't work out and don't lift weights. That's another one
that is kind of crazy when you think, like, it is the amount of people that actually work out is, like, far less than people that don't.
That's another motivator for me, and I might just be creating it in my head a little bit, but
you're above average.
Yeah, like I'm above average. I'm, able to, just I'm like a bit of a step ahead.
Yeah.
By working out, right? That helps me get a little bit more of an edge.
Yep.
And I need that.
Yeah.
In that sense, like I have to have those things in order to, attain the things I want to attain, or to, just be able to age the way I want to age. And you're just not in control, so you got to do what you can in order to, put yourself in the best position.
Exactly.
So I'm those are the things that I think about now.
Yeah.
It's like I'm constantly like thinking about like just like aging and like, preventing injury.
Yeah. That's huge.
And maintaining like a lifestyle that I like being able to pursue things that I want to, if I want to do something, I can go do it. I don't have to be like, oh, I can't because of my knee or my back or, or constantly, dude, medical bills are expensive. Constantly having to go to the doctor for whatever, or getting some sort of, God forbid, a disease that's preventable, all those things, man, like.
No, it's like you don't have to, you just have to have the money to do what you want to do. You have the energy to do it. And that's like, those are the two biggest things. It's like, do you have the time and like the money, and do you have the energy? And like a lot of people just don't have the energy.
That's true too, right? They have the resources and not the energy. That's true. That's huge.
Yeah.
And that kind of ties into the mental aspect of it.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, my mental health is so driven by my physical health.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm maybe too much. Sometimes I wonder, but it definitely, it's a benefit. Yeah. It's just such a benefit. It helps me just keep my head straight.
I have the best conversations with myself when I'm working out.
For sure.
That is like where I'm most in the zone. I'm very rarely on my phone, which is crazy because other people in gym are like, perfect, this is unlimited time on my phone. I'm like, I'll have my music in and I'm just like in the zone. And it's just like I'm planning, like, I'm on the Stairmaster yesterday for the 45 minutes, like each step I'm just like in this and this and you're just like, because it is like, it's time to yourself, it's time to focus, it's time to set goals, and like actually be proactive in what you want to do with your life. Yeah,
you're releasing some stress, some anxiety, and it's like, I think like even you get into a good flow, and then there's like this post exercise like kind of clarity that you get, right? You're kind of like,
oh yeah,
but I mean, that's all these things are why it keeps me going.
For sure.
But man, we didn't even talk about you coaching boxing.
Oh yeah.
At all.
Not just that little like side note.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you got certified training too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you told me that, I was like, oh man, I gotta be on my game.
I like helped you level up. You helped me level up. It was like
I'm like, I got a
mutually beneficial. You're like, oh shoot.
I got a trainer here. Anyway, all right. Well, I mean, don't want to take too much of your time. I appreciate this. Yeah. It was awesome. so sad that you're leaving. Tori's leaving the gym
Yeah.
soon. She's moving out of Roscoe Village.
Yeah, but I'll be back when I can.
There'll be a wonderful condo ready.
One for my condo. 2 bed, 2 bath.
Freshly painted. Guys, until next time, please make sure that you like and subscribe. You can get to know more about the Victory Training community. And if you ever have any questions, feel free to get to our website,